What do you do next with Khamzat Chimaev? I wanted to make a little video today breaking down the reasons he will smoke Dricus du Plessis. He's going to steamroll through all of that competition at middleweight and become your new UFC middleweight champion. That's a crazy, bold claim to make, but after seeing what he did to Bobby Knuckles, no one does that to Bobby Knuckles. I had so many doubts going into that fight, and Khamzat Chimaev, once again, I was on his hype train early, and a couple of the performances, brought out a few questions in me. And the time off, the injuries, the illness, his inability to get to the fight, all of these things were big questions going into his matchup against Robert Whittaker at UFC 308. And does anyone have any questions left? Yes, the guy could not fight at that pace for 25 minutes. No human being can fight at that pace for 25 minutes. But who can survive the onslaught? Do you think that Dricus du Plessis is going to be able to survive that onslaught? When we look at the matchup between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, stylistically, look at du Plessis. He loves putting himself into the chaos, putting himself right into the fight. Is that going to work against Khamzat Chimaev? Playing in to that fire, Khamzat Chimaev brings an incredible chaos into the octagon that no one can deal with. It would be fireworks for as long as it lasted, but I cannot help but see Khamzat Chimaev getting just takedown after takedown. Do you think Dricus du Plessis is going to be able to stop the wrestling of Khamzat Chimaev? There is not a person in this division who I see stopping that double leg. We talk about shooting quickly. The guy has the fastest double leg in the whole UFC. Chimaev is going to match the physicality of Dricus du Plessis. Du Plessis, what makes him so special, or one of the reasons at least, is his physicality. His brute force, his will, his ability to push through the pain. I think he is outmatched with Chimaev on, pretty much all of those factors. The physicality, the force, the brute strength. We talk about grip strength. The guy broke Robert Whittaker's jaw with a choke. Not even a choke, a neck crank for, how long did he have that in? A second or two? It was one of the fastest taps we've seen in the UFC by Robert Whittaker nonetheless. Chimaev is one of the strongest dudes. Forget 185. I can't believe he used to fight at 170. Those poor welterweights. But when we look up to 205, in terms of physicality, I think he can hang up there as well. After his performance last weekend at 308, the sky is the limit for this dude. If he can stay healthy and get to the fights, I think that's his biggest obstacle, because in terms of competition and who's going to be able to put up a real fight against this dude, especially in this division, I don't know what you guys think. I don't know who's taking Dricus du Plessis in that fight. Sean Strickland's talked about in the past being manhandled and ragdolled by Chimaev back when he was a welterweight. So they've done training before. Strickland knows that's a terrible matchup for him. How tall he stands, he would be giving his legs up all day. Those are the only two guys ahead of Chimaev now. I love his chances in both of those matchups. What do you think the odds would be opening? You see Chimaev as an underdog in either of those matchups? I think Chimaev would get those two out of there in the first two rounds. I really don't think it would look too dissimilar to what he did to Robert Whittaker. Chimaev captures the belt, 185. What's next for him? Like we said about 205, get him up there. If Alex Pereira still holds the belt by the time Chimaev has the belt, get that fight going. What a matchup. What a fight. It is complete contrast of styles at the highest level. Chimaev, someone who has, in my humble opinion, the best grappling, wrestling all round in the UFC, at least in terms of effectiveness, versus the best, most powerful, dynamic killer in Alex Pereira, Poatan, hands of stone. Sign me up. And if we talk about Chimaev with the belt, imagine how much hype he's going to have on him then. Alex Pereira, a couple more defenses. He gets past Ankalaev. That's the fight. No one is talking about that matchup, but that's the fight. I can see it a year from now. Get that fight going, because I think it could be the biggest fight in UFC history between two titans at the top of their game and the top of their respective divisions. That's just me doing a little bit of MMA, like fortune telling. But I can see a clear path to that because Chimaev, like I said, I favor him over anyone in this division, anyone at middleweight. With the way Poatan's been looking, he's going to be the champ for a long time as well, I reckon. He's getting a little bit older though, so the only thing I think that could get in the way of that matchup is Pereira moving up to heavyweight. But stay down at 205. They've had some beef in the past on Twitter. I know they'd love to fight each other, and could you imagine the build up to that one? Sign me up. Khamzat Chimaev will be your middleweight champion. Mark my words. What the guy did at UFC 308 against Robert Whittaker, like we've talked about, was so impressive and really proved that he is at the top level of this division. We knew how good he was, you know. We knew his skills, but there was just so many questions regarding the level of competition and like we talked about, his inability to make it to the fight. And I think that is still his biggest hurdle because a healthy Chimaev is beating anyone in the world. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure you are all aboard on the Khamzat Chimaev hype train, just like me. Thank you guys so much. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate it. I want to say thank you guys so much. We just hit 100 subscribers. Feels like a really big milestone. And thank you from the bottom of my heart because it truly means a lot to me, guys. We'll talk again soon.